the economic war, do not have energy and do not have raw materials, was a very strange idea. And for some time, they might have believed that the sanctions levied on Russia in the end will be enough to actually win this economic war. But what is happening now is all of a sudden, everything has gained importance what the Russians dispose of. And suddenly they are in a much more favorable position than they used to be before, ever. So the Ukrainian, the support of Ukrainians strategy has basically failed. But now we are concentrating on the elections. That's why perhaps less attention was paid to this. But we will be faced with an absolutely new situation after the Hungarian elections. The Hungarian situation is difficult. I do not want to make a secret of it, because it was first at the end of 2022 that the Ukrainians blockaded the gas pipeline that was bringing gas from Russia to Hungary. We managed to fend that off with the Turk Stream, but just now, not much before the elections, and I think because of the upcoming elections, and in the hope of having a pro-Ukrainian government elected into office, they actually blockaded our oil pipeline as well. The oil pipeline, that is the umbilical cord of the Hungarian economy, coming from Russia, the main supply route coming from Russia. Consequently, Hungary has had to tap into her reserves. There's two things we are doing. On the one hand, they have closed us off from oil. We have to supply the Hungarian economy, Hungarian consumers with fuel and with energy, and we have to force the Ukrainians to reopen the pipeline. And we have a plan to do that. We are actually executing that step by step, and at the end of this, I am convinced, after the national forces win the election here in Hungary, there will be no option left for the Ukrainians than to lift this blockade, to reopen the pipeline, and Hungary can just go back to normal operation. These are my, well, I wouldn't say hope, these are my plans. This is how it's going to happen.
So to answer your question, yes, we're certainly aware that there are elements within the Ukrainian intelligence services that tried to put their thumb on the scale of American elections, on Hungarian elections. This is just what they do. This is part of the cost of doing business within some elements of their system. I try to remind myself that Ukraine, like the United States, is a very complicated place. There are good people and there are bad people. There are people that try to interfere in others' elections, and there are people who actually just say, you know what, we believe in sovereignty for everybody, and that's what we support. For example, there were people in the Ukrainian system who were campaigning with Democrats literally in the weeks before the presidential election, where Donald Trump won very comfortably in November of 2024. So I'm aware of that stuff, but I don't